This story is about two schoolchildren whose simple game turns into an exciting adventure. Through curiosity, teamwork, and honesty, they discover something unexpected and learn that real treasure is not only gold, but also fun, friendship, and good choices. The story uses clear, simple English, so learners can easily follow the events and enjoy the journey. Every afternoon, when the last school bell rang, Rohan and Mira raced out of Shantiniketan Public School like two sparrows released from a cage. Their bags bounced on their backs, shoes half dusted with chalk from the playground, minds already far from homework. What mattered to them was the same thing every day: games. Rohan was the kind of boy who could turn anything into play. A broken ruler became a sword, a stack of notebooks became a fortress, and a puddle after rain became an ocean to explore. Mira, on the other hand, was observant and clever. She noticed patterns in clouds, counted steps without thinking, and always asked questions that made teachers pause. Together, they were a perfect team. Rohan full of energy, Mira full of ideas. That Tuesday, the sky was clear and the playground shimmered with late sunlight. Instead of cricket, they decided to invent a new game. "Let's play treasure track," Rohan declared, drawing a crooked map in the dust with a stick. "What are the rules?" Mira asked, crouching beside him. "We follow clues," he said, tapping the ground dramatically. "Wherever they lead, we go." Mira smiled. "Then I'll make the first clue." She wrote something on a scrap of paper torn from her notebook and hid it under the old neem tree near the boundary wall. The note read, "Where shadows sleep at noon, your next step begins." Rohan squinted. "Shadows sleep at noon. That's under the big slide." They sprinted to the rusted slide, laughing as they searched. Beneath it, taped carefully, was another note. "Not all doors are made of wood. Some open when you dare to look down." Mira frowned. "Look down. Drains?" They walked toward the edge of the playground, where a shallow, usually dry stone channel ran behind the bushes. As Rohan parted the leaves, something caught the light, a soft, yellow gleam. At first he thought it was broken glass. Then he saw the colour. "Mira," he whispered, suddenly serious. "Come here." Half buried in mud and wrapped in torn cloth was a small metal box. The lock had long rusted away. With trembling fingers, Rohan lifted the lid. Inside were objects that made their hearts pound. Old coins, dull with age but unmistakably golden in colour, and a thin chain tangled around a tiny pendant shaped like a sun. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. "Is this real gold?" Mira finally asked. Rohan swallowed. "I think so." They sat down on the grass, staring. The game had turned into something else entirely. Mira's mind raced. Someone must have hidden this. Maybe years ago, or maybe it washed here during the monsoon. Rohan picked up a coin. It was heavier than he expected. "We found treasure," he said, his voice full of wonder. They both burst out laughing, half from excitement, half from disbelief. Then came the big question. "What do we do with it?" Rohan asked. Mira thought carefully. "We can't just keep it. It could belong to someone. Or maybe it's important." Rohan looked disappointed for half a second, then nodded. "My grandfather says real treasure brings responsibility." They decided to take the box to the oldest place they knew, the small town library near the temple, run by Mr. Iyer, who knew almost everything about the town's past. Mr. Iyer adjusted his glasses as they poured the contents onto his desk. "Well," he said slowly, "this is interesting." He told them that nearly 50 years ago, A travelling theatre group had performed in the town. The leader of the group, a woman named Savitri Devi, was known to wear a sun-shaped pendant and collect old coins from every place she visited. During a sudden flood one season, many of their belongings were lost. She must have hidden them for safety, Mr. Iyer said softly. And never returned. So what happens now? Rohan asked. Mr. Iyer smiled. Now, you finish her story. With his help, they contacted a cultural society in the nearby city. After a week of excited waiting, a reply came. Savitri Devi's granddaughter was alive and worked as a dance teacher. She had grown up hearing stories about her grandmother's lost collection. When the woman arrived, her eyes filled with tears as she saw the pendant. This was her lucky charm, she said, holding it carefully. She believed the sun meant beginnings. She thanked Rohan and Meera again and again. As a reward, she insisted on giving them something. But instead of money, she offered an idea. I'm organising a children's cultural fair next month, she said. Music, games, art, stories. I want you both to be special guests. The fair was held in the school ground. Colourful stalls appeared. There were paper lanterns, street performers, puppet shows, and storytelling corners. Rohan and Meera helped design the treasure games section, where children followed clues, solved riddles, and learned about honesty, teamwork, and local history. They didn't hide gold, of course. They hid laughter. At one station, kids had to build bridges from straws. At another, they solved puzzles to unlock joke boxes. The final treasure was a chest filled with spinning tops, whistles, stickers, and tiny notebooks labelled Explorer's Log. Rohan ran around with the cardboard hat, announcing, "Treasure hunters this way." Meera managed the clue board, pretending to be a strict map keeper who secretly giggled when children guessed wrong. At sunset, as music played and fairy lights flickered on, they finally sat down, exhausted and happy, each holding a cup of sweet lime soda. You know, Rohan said, we never actually kept the gold. Meera smiled. But we got something better. What? A real adventure. And this. She gestured at the glowing ground, the laughing children, the floating lanterns. Rohan leaned back on his hands. So, Treasure Track worked, Meera laughed. It worked too well. They clinked their cups together. The sun dipped low, just like the pendant had been shaped, and for a moment the whole sky looked golden. And in that light, Rohan and Meera understood something they would remember for years. The best games are the ones that turn into stories, and the best treasures are the ones that end in fun.